Kirk had deep ties to the Trump administration, even speaking at the presidential inauguration in January. Within minutes of the first report of the shooting, both the president and vice president issued statements of support. CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro joining me now. She's going to give us a sense of how close Kirk was to the administration and what the White House is saying today. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, I'll just start with some of the reaction we got. As you mentioned, President Trump, shortly after the news of the shooting broke, he posted on Truth Social, quote, "We must all pray for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot. A great guy from top to bottom. God bless him." Vice President JD Vance posted twice on X, one a picture of himself, Donald Trump Jr. and Kirk, and he wrote, quote, "Dear God, protect Charlie in his darkest hour." In a separate post, he said, "Say a prayer for Charlie Kirk, a genuinely good guy and a young father." And one last post from FBI Director Kash Patel mentioning that they are closely monitoring this shooting. He said that his thoughts are with Charlie, his loved ones, and everyone affected. Agents will be on the scene quickly, and the FBI stands in full support of the ongoing response and investigation. What we know about Charlie Kirk is that he was heavily involved and his organization, Turning Point USA, in helping President Trump and his campaign in 2024, but also just gathering young conservatives in the past decade or so. We know that he has appeared with President Trump in 2024 on the campaign trail at least 5 times, according to my colleague Olivia Rinaldi, who covered that campaign closely. In addition to that, he was holding these campus tours where he would invite students to come debate him, and moments of that really got viral and became viral on both sides of the political spectrum, aside from the events that he was doing with President Trump. And we also know that Turning Point USA, his organization, and Turning Point USA Action were heavily involved in the ground game in battleground states for the Trump campaign in states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, where they worked with the super PAC led by Elon Musk, who was also supporting the Trump campaign. But this is someone who is a figurehead for conservative millennials and those younger, and was about to embark on a lengthy tour of college campuses beginning in Utah.
All right, Aaron Navarro. Aaron, thank you. All right, I want to go to our breaking news correspondent Shanelle Kaul in the CBS newsroom in New York with more on what we're learning about this developing story. Shanelle.
And Jules, certainly moments of tension, of panic on campus at Utah Valley University earlier this afternoon. We've been talking about what happened. We now know conservative commentator and influencer Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck this afternoon. This is somebody who is very close to the Trump administration, right? We were talking about his relationship to the president, just how close he is. Well, he was part of picking the cabinet for this administration, as we've now learned. I do want to mention, though, the event that he was there on campus for was meant to be this prove me wrong table, right? So the idea here was folks would be able to come up, they would be able to talk about a political issue, they'd be able to debate him, and the idea was for this to be entertaining. As you saw in these images that we've been sharing with you all afternoon, there was a massive crowd there. But I also want to mention, Jules, there was some controversy and concern about holding this event on campus. In fact, as of this morning, over 6,700 people had actually signed a petition asking the university to cancel the event and bar Charlie Kirk from campus. Obviously, that didn't happen. The event went ahead as scheduled. There was a really big turnout there. And then, of course, Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck this afternoon. Now, we are still waiting for word on his condition. In the meantime, though, we're seeing reaction not just from top Republicans like the president. We're also seeing Democrats condemning this act of political violence. So I want to share a few posts with you. This one from Democratic Governor of California, Gavin Newsom. He wrote this: "The attack on Charlie Kirk is disgusting, vile, and reprehensible. In the United States of America, we must reject political violence in every form." This is notable because Kirk actually sat down with Gavin Newsom for his podcast about 6 months ago. So these folks had met, and I think a lot of people are talking about just how big Charlie Kirk was and how the Democrats saw him as this rising star in the party. Kamala Harris also sending out a note saying, "I am deeply disturbed by the shooting in Utah. Doug and I send our prayers to Charlie Kirk and his family. Let me be clear, political violence has no place in America. I condemn this act, and we must all work together to ensure this does not lead to more violence." Again, Charlie Kirk shot in the neck on Utah Valley University campus during this event that he was holding called the American Comeback Tour. He had this Prove Me Wrong table that folks were able to join him at, debate about a political issue. And the idea was for this to be entertaining. Obviously, it ended with this act of political violence. And at this hour, we are still waiting for an update on Charlie Kirk's condition. Jewel?
Yeah, we're standing by for that. Shanelle, Kaul, thank you so much. We'll circle back with you for the latest updates on 24/7.